That news broke this morning, right as I was about to wake up, actually. Andrew McCutchen, aka Uncle Larry, he's on his way to Rangers camp, assuming he passes his physical on a minor league contract. Lot to talk about on that one. Lot to talk about in today's DLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, I guess you can kind of consider this a quasi emergency podcast because there is some breaking news. And by God, we're going to fix it. Kent is doing the production today, and he is a huge Uncle Larry fan. So fired up for Kent. Kat is nearby after her little sojourn to Philadelphia to whip the Philly station into shape. But yeah, so we're gonna have a nice show here. And I got to be honest, after yesterday's show, I was like, man, what are we going to talk about today? So thanks to Chris Young and the Rangers for providing us with some news. So let's go into the camp rundown. A couple of things first before we get to Andrew McCutchen there. The Rangers do have a game. It's tonight at 7 Central against the Royals. The Royals are broadcasting this game, so you may be able to find a feed to that somewhere. Mackenzie Gore is going to start for the Rangers, and our old friend Cole Reagans is going to start for the Royals. So ought to be a good one tonight. A couple left-handers, young left-handers, probably some of the two young left-handers in the game. The Rangers have a B game this afternoon over on the Royals side. Now on the Rangers side, the B games are played on Nolan Ryan Field. On the Royals side, they're played on George Brett Field. Some names that we all know will be playing in it. The Rangers haven't provided those names yet. Okay, so but look for updates from the DLLS Rangers Twitter and my Twitter account as well, Jeff Wilson TXR. All right, on to the big news. Andrew McCutchen, minor league deal. Not going to pay him a lot base wise. With incentives, he can make up to $2.5 million. This is an incredibly low risk signing for a guy who's a 5-time All-Star, former MVP. Now, it is a minor league deal, and you're thinking, well, why would a 39-year-old former MVP sign a minor league deal, and technically have to earn his way onto the opening day roster? Well, this is just my read. I'm willing to bet that he was given some pretty strong assurances that he's got a very good chance to make this team. The Rangers want to see what he has left. Right-handed hitter, hit 13 homers last year, 20 homers in 2024. Look, if he does make the roster, which again I think he will become the right-handed hitting complement in the platoon and in an outfield spot, probably with Evan Carter, definitely a DH with Jock Pederson. I think that I saw that McCutchen had like 120 games at DH last season, so he's comfortable with that. And if he makes the roster, he's going to be in the opening day lineup because the Phillies are going to start left-hander Christopher Sanchez unless he blows up in the World Baseball Classic. So not only in 3 weeks' time, 3 weeks from today, could you see Andrew McCutchen in a Rangers uniform on opening day, you could see him batting in the lineup somewhere, probably in the middle. Anyway, strip away all that stuff. Why was he signed? Okay, the Rangers obviously know they need a right-handed hitter, part-time right-handed hitter. They saw a lot of them go off the market late in spring, late in the offseason, right before spring training. So there's that. He will impact the bench as a veteran who knows what it takes to stay sharp and be called upon at a moment's notice. Yes, he's an everyday player, has been an everyday player, but he does know how to hit. He doesn't have to worry about what pitchers are trying to do to him or worry about a pitcher he's never seen before. 17 years in the majors. I'm guessing he's seen a lot of them. Some of them maybe even are now coaching I don't know if he ever faced Chris Young. Maybe he did. Probably he did. But there's that's one example right there. That's how long he's been around. Speaking of Chris Young, is a huge believer in veteran presence and leadership, probably more than any GM or president of baseball operations in baseball. He just can't can't value it enough. Skip Schumacher, the new manager, is trying to reshape the culture. He's also big on leadership and things like that. So Uncle Larry, who's beloved by every teammate he's ever had, is has an opportunity to add to that. Again, he was the MVP in 2013, a five-time All-Star. He finished third in the 2014 NL MVP vote behind Clayton Kershaw, who won it, and Giancarlo Stanton. But McCutchen's numbers were actually better that year than his MVP year. Now the numbers have tailed off with age. He batted 239 last year, 13 homers, only a 367 slug, a 700 OPS, which, if we're being brutally honest, would have been the best on the Rangers roster last year. So, but of course, he's not going to be facing a bunch of right-handers if he makes the team. I'm sure he'll face some. So he was better last year against left-handers, 743 OPS. Against left-handed starters, it was a 799 OPS and a 433 slug. So those are the nuts and bolts behind the signing. Some of the people I've talked to or exchanged texts with this morning, they're like, well, we need to find out what he's got left, and then he's a right-handed batter who protects the lineup, and so those are going to be his roles, and I'm sure at this point he recognizes that. You never know what happens with injuries. You never know what's going to happen with Jock Pederson, let's say, or a bunch of the outfielders who are players who've just been on the injured list in the past couple years. Talking about Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter here. There could be more than just at bats against left-handed pitchers for McCutchen. And then I go back to the Jeff Bannister days. He came from the Pirates. Now, of course, this was 11 years ago when Banny that was his first spring was 11 years ago, and he brought with him Tony Beasley and Josh Bonifay, who's back with the organization as the farm director. And Bannister and Beasley couldn't say nice enough things about McCutchen, and why not? A great young player. You could tell how much he cared. I think this is a big miss for the Pirates and their fans. Yes, he's old and probably not as productive, but this is one of their more beloved players, especially in recent franchise history. Probably the most beloved in recent franchise history. Instead, they went and signed Marcell Ozuna. Spent a lot of money on him too. And I'm not sure how much better Ozuna is. Recently, he had a pretty good year in 2024, but he digressed last year. So we'll see how it plays out in Pittsburgh, but more importantly, how it plays out in Arlington, and how over the next 16 days it will play out at Rangers camp. He's going to get here eventually. I would guess tomorrow, depending on the physical and all that stuff and his travel schedule. He will have a little time to report, but he's going to have to hit the ground running, because you're getting into a point now where you're running out of games. He's going to need at bats. I would suspect that he will be taking at bats in minor league games, trying to get caught up for lost time for not signing here until March the 5th. And March the 5th, heck, that used to be before the first spring games were played, or the first week of spring games. Not anymore. So, this whole new spring schedule and the new off-season schedule, where the off-season never ends, and you get players like Andrew McCutchen available on March the 5th. It's kind of creating a little bit of a log jam, a time crunch, I guess, for those players who do sign late. So that's the news. I mean, it's big news. It affects a lot of guys. There are guys who are trying to win roster spots here. We talked about yesterday's show all the guys who were candidates to be on the bench, and you have Sam Haggerty, and who's been very, very good this spring, and is an outfielder and is a switch hitter, but he's better against left-handers. You have Tyler Wade, who can play everywhere. He's a left-handed batter. Does this put a crunch on him? Ezekiel Duran, well, people are thinking he could play the outfield corners if needed against a left-hander. He's a right-handed hitter. He's also a very good shortstop. I think he's still in pretty good shape because of the shortstop thing. How does this impact Michael Hellman? Probably not real well, because Hellman's off to a little bit of a slow start. He can play infield, but really, I don't know that he has this spring so far. I know he's taking ground balls and whatnot, but I don't remember seeing him in a game in the infield. And then Mark Canha, who signed the day before the position players reported. So I guess it was Valentine's Day because they reported on the 15th. He signed a minor league deal. He lives in Phoenix. Drove over, was ready to go. Um, he's three. I think he's 3 for 12 this spring. I think he's drawn a walk, but it's been all singles. He was coming off a year last year. Was with the Royals and had an injury and didn't finish the season in the majors. So it looks like he's probably has the shortest straw here because these other guys that I've mentioned, um, especially Hellman, Osuna, who I haven't mentioned, they have minor league options. They're going to stay in the organization. Wade is on a minor league deal, so that could be a potential crunch for him. But he's having a great spring, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But he's batting 600 this spring. He's hit a home run. He's played all over the field. He played third base yesterday against Team Brazil. So he's been very handy and he's opened some eyes and he's definitely strengthened his chance at making the open day roster. But this Andrew McCutchen signing, it's quite a dent in those plans. I'm sure that when he heard the news, I'm guessing he's in the clubhouse now. The clubhouse opens to the media at 12 at 1:45 in Texas, 12:45 here. I've got my best man John Moore on the case for those first 15 or 20 minutes until I can get downstairs. It'll be interesting to see um, what the reaction is, if there's really any reaction, because of course the Rangers haven't announced the deal yet, and and they're not talking about it on the record yet. So I'm not sure that players will have a lot to say about it, but I'm sure we'll find a couple in there who will have something to say about it, like Wyatt Langford. Oh, I remember watching him growing up, and things like that. That's how old Andrew McCutchen is. But Jacob DeGrom hears that too, at 38. So anyway, are the Rangers still going to make some moves? You never know, honestly. I think that I heard Patrick Corbin's name thrown around the other day, and kind of in a joking manner. And I saw somebody wearing a Corbin jersey. There's a fan for you, a Corbin jersey yesterday during the Team Brazil game. I would think that the Rangers would have to have the bottom fall out of the rotation injury wise again, kind of like they did last year. Not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying it's going to be Patrick Corbin, but I could see the Rangers having to shift gears and have to dive back into free agency if something like that were to happen. And I think that's entirely you hope it's not going to happen, but you always have to be prepared for something like that. I think same thing in the relief pool, the relief space, though. I think Gavin Collier has kind of shown that if he's throwing strikes, he could pitch in the major leagues. Robbie Alstrom, who I'm a big fan of course. So there are options, there are arms, there are guys who are in camp on minor league deals. Ryan Brazier, who pitched better his last time out. I think that was Monday, but still looks like he's building up. There wasn't a lot of juice on the fastball for that outing, but it was his first scoreless outing of the spring. So you take the good, you take the bad. And then Chris Martin, who's already on the roster, he's ratcheting up. And Mark Church, I still am intrigued with Mark Church, who threw live yesterday as well. And don't know if he has time to make the roster, but Mark Church, definitely keep that name um, in the back of your mind or on the front burner, even front of your mind, whatever I'm trying to say. Keep it handy, because I think Mark Church could be a guy who helps this team early on this year. So we'll get to a little bit more about the offense, not just how McCutchen could impact it, but kind of where the state of the offense right now. It's still early, but you're running out of time. What's the feel? How does Skip Schumacher feel about things? Is his messaging getting across? We'll talk about that next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the leaders in daily fantasy. If you go to prizepicks.com/DLLS, you will get $50 in free lineups after your first $5 lineup. What is a lineup? Well, it's 2 to 6 players. You choose whether they will have more or less than a particular statistical category. You can do it for as little as $1, and you can win some money. I'm gonna admit that I'm on a little bit of a Prize Picks heater right now. I've collected over $100 the past couple days. I won actually a hockey lineup, which I seldom do, but anyway, it's fun. And like I tell you guys, every time Prize Picks is here, I do it every day. I'm not making that up. That is not hyperbole. And so it's a lot of fun and keeps me involved in sports. Prizepicks.com/DLLS. $5 lineup gets you $50 in free lineups. And then it's Wild Fork Foods time. Again, as always, our friends in meat and seafood. Wild Fork Meat and Seafood Markets, 9 DFW locations, or go to their website, www.wildforkfoods.com. You can become a member at Wild Fork Foods for $29 for the year, and it gets you free delivery either the same day, no later than the next day. So many different kinds of meats. Like I always say, kangaroo. If you like lean food, they have turkey, they have buffalo. If you like seafood from all over the world, same thing with their meats. It's hard to beat Wild Fork Foods, and the people there are so nice and such great experts in how to prepare the certain cuts of meats. Just whatever question you have, they've never not answered one of my questions. So again, Wild Fork Foods, Meat and Seafood Market, 9 DFW locations. Visit one today. Those are some great ad reads. I've really nailed that one. All right, so on to the state of the offense. I asked Skip Schumacher about this yesterday, and planning to write about it. We'll go ahead and dive in. The Rangers, they scored 13 runs yesterday. How about that against a completely overmatched Brazilian team? So I wouldn't put a lot of stock into it. All right, let's take a look. Who are the Rangers' best hitters so far this spring? Well, Tyler Wade, he's batting .600. Sam Haggerty at .538. Aaron Zavala at .500. And then Cameron Colley, who homered yesterday, he's having a nice camp. Okay, so the first two have a chance at making the roster. I really don't think the other two are going to make the roster. So that's kind of where we're at here in spring training. You're seeing guys who are getting a lot of at bats, who are fill-ins, who aren't projected regulars. So like a lot of the projected regulars don't even have 10 at bats. So the two who do are Josh Smith and Jake Berger. Corey Seager has 9. Wyatt Langford has 8. Brandon Nimmo officially has 0 because yesterday's game didn't count in the Cactus League stats. 2 at bats, 3 plate appearances yesterday though. So it's too early to gauge how the offense is going to perform. Like Skip Schumacher said yesterday, you can dream on it. If these guys just have their normal career averages, the Rangers are going to have a decent offense. And then you're like, well, maybe 23. You have some guys who had some career years, like Seager, like Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia, and what happens? Well, you get into the playoffs. You have guys who can get hot and carry you at certain times, as Garcia did in the ALCS and as Seager did in the World Series. So right now, it's still kind of a dream of what the offense can be. So is Jock Pederson going to be better? Don't know yet. Everybody seems to think he's going to be better. He's 3 for 12 so far with 12 singles. Is Jake Berger going to be better? Good sign so far for Jake. He's got a couple home runs. I think he's batting over 300. Is Josh Young going to be better? Remember, those 3 are the 3 guys who, throughout the offseason and even at the start of camp, were said they have to be better for the offense to work. Well, Josh is hurt. So, when he gets back, he'll still have time to get ready for opening day, but we don't know yet. I could go on and on. Evan Carter doesn't have that many at bats, and he was sick yesterday. And again, Langford 8, Nimmo none. So questions that still have to be answered, but now is the time that they will ramp up. You will see the regulars playing more frequently and longer into games. So keep an eye out here in the next week, and then you'll start to see these guys playing back to back, going into the, let's say, the fifth or sixth inning, and then that last week, seventh inning. Maybe some will get to the eighth, but they're going to get their at bats. Now, one thing to keep in mind that Skip Schumacher has watched and has liked so far is the situational hitting. Um, what is the situational hitting? It's the stuff that we've all yearned for the last couple seasons. All the offense has stunk and has seemingly been swinging for the fences all the time. It's doing the right things at the plate, letting the game dictate what you're going to do offensively, and that's what you've seen so far. The Rangers have 7 sacrifice flies, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for the Rangers it is. They've drawn 53 walks. Okay, now that's for the whole team. So what about the guys who are going to be on the roster? Well, Michael Hellman has 2 sacrifice flies. The catchers, Higashioka and Jansen, have 1 apiece. You have guys like Osuna and Duran with 4 walks apiece. Carter and Smith 3 apiece. Berger 2. William McGyver, who has a chance to be in the majors this year, he has 5 walks to lead the team. But yeah, so to maximize the offense, it's got to be the situational hitting, grinding out at bats, grinding down pitchers, moving runners over, getting guys home from third with less than 2 outs, like with the sacrifice fly. Now, they work on it in batting practice, so this isn't a coincidence. I asked Skip Schumacher specifically, is it too early to say this is a trend or is it just a coincidence? He said, I do not believe in coincidences. So I felt like I was getting scolded a little bit, but the Rangers work on this stuff in BP. You'll hear Justin Veely, whoever is behind the cage during a BP round, tell Jake Berger, all right, get him over, drive him in, hit it the other way, things like that, things that the Rangers have been lacking, and they admit that they've been lacking these things for the last couple seasons. So a more diverse offense appears to be on its way. Guys are buying into the selflessness. They want to win. They don't want to be known as the part of the worst offense in baseball or one of the worst offenses in baseball. So it's a good thing that these things are happening, and you hope it continues. Now, it's also worth mentioning, because of this McCutchen signing, that the Rangers apparently aren't very satisfied with their right-handed hitting options, right? I mean, Hellman, Canha, Duran, all bat right-handed. Not a lot of juice so far off of their bats. Foscue and Freeman have been injured. Freeman's not even probably going to play till May. Foscue is hoping to get back in the lineup this weekend, but the time he's missed with a hamstring injury seems to have really hampered his chances. And then outside of Mark Canha, there's not really a ton of experience on the bench or in these guys who aren't going to be playing every day. And that matters. The experience matters. So you want a veteran guy who can, hasn't taken a bat in a week, who can get up there and give you a quality at bat. So that's kind of the state of the offense right now. I think with B games being played, you're going to see some guys who will go over to B games and get at bats. You'll see minor league games, the inter squad games, I believe, start Saturday. So you will see major leaguers who have missed time, or guys in major league camp who have missed time, get sprinkled into minor league games. Josh Young, 100% will do this. I would imagine that Foscue will as well. Anybody who feels like they don't have their timing right, or that they need to see more pitches, you can find on the backfields, I bet, if they're not in the A game that day. Brandon Nimmo talked about it yesterday, how he is fully aware of what's available to him on the backfields, and that he plans to take advantage of it if he isn't feeling right. So it's hard to feel good about the offense right now, because you haven't seen the guys who you want to see play that much. But if you kind of peel back the layers on the onion a little bit and look at how the Rangers are scoring their runs, that's the good thing. They are, without question, doing those little things, and they have started to hit the ball at the ballpark. You don't want to just be punch and Judy. I know the Rangers ballpark, the way everybody is saying Global Life Field is now a pitcher's park,
I'm gonna go run out
and
with
it
Bobby
is
real quick, and then I'll catch you at
statistically.
2 to do the audio
Nope,
stuff.
That's good.
Cool.
there's Cat. There's Cat. Giving an update. So anyway, the Rangers have some guys who can hit the ball out of the park. They have some guys who are going to be able to find gaps. They have guys who are going to be able to take advantage of their situations, do what they do best, and so there you go. That's the state of the offense. What to look for today? With Cole Reagan's pitching, you'll get to see some guys who are left-handed hitters who will have the opportunity to, or right-handed hitters who will have the opportunity to face left-handers. You may see left-handers who have the opportunity to face. We got some wire acrobatics going on. That's all right. Here we go. Hang on. This is pretty fun. The Kansas City TV production folks are getting their stuff ready for tonight. Running through the main press box so that they can get all the information they need. Anyway, so tonight's lineup, which I haven't seen, I would suspect though that Evan Carter, if he's healthy, will be in there to face Cole Reagans. Again, Evan needs these left-handed at bats, and if he's going to ever face left-handers, he's got to get left-handed at bats. That's the catch-22 that we keep talking about. But I would suspect that some guys who need the at bats, who have something to show, who are trying to win a roster spot for a specific role, will be in the lineup. From John Moore down there near the clubhouse on the B game, Brandon Nimmo and Danny Jansen will be playing in that game this afternoon rather than hanging around for the night game. So hey, something to watch over there at George Brett Field. But the offense to be complete, you got to have guys who can fill a role, and that's ultimately, I think, what all this competition this spring is about. It's about who's going to be the right-handed hitting complements. Can Josh Smith play every day? Which I think you'll get that opportunity. Obviously, Nimmo's going to play every day. You're going to have the Carter situation where I bet he doesn't play a lot of against a lot of left-handers. Jock Pederson definitely isn't going to play against left-handers. So going full circle here to the top of the show, that's where Andrew McCutchen comes in. That's where maybe Duran comes in, and maybe Canna. I could see Mark Canna making the team even with Andrew McCutchen. Canna can play first base, offer a little versatility that way, but it's all going to come down to how many veterans do the Rangers want, and do they want to give these young guys a chance? Are these young guys, can they live with the inconsistency that comes with coming off the bench and not being an everyday player? Is it good? Is it better for their long-term futures to be in the minors getting everyday at bats, or are these guys part-time players who need to learn how to be part-time players? I think that's something else that is going on behind the scenes, conversations that happen when reporters are not around. Okay, I know it's a little early, but we're going to go ahead and go to another ad break here, and then when we come back, MLB Pipeline released its top 30 Rangers prospects, and we're going to take a look at that. So we'll do that after this little ad break on the DLLS Rangers podcast. All right, guys. Supporters Club. Let's do the Supporters Club right now. There you go. Hooray for the Supporters Club. It is our diehard membership for the YouTube channel. That's the best way to describe it. It's stuff that you can't get anywhere else. And by stuff, I mean videos. So it's behind the scene videos from all four of our beats. Not just the fighting Rangers, but Cowboys, Mavs, and Stars, experienced reporters, guys who like to have fun, who are more podcast and talk oriented, like Kevin Gray. He's solid when it comes to this kind of stuff. And then you get the free emojis as rarities, as flex in there. So there you have it. It's an unbelievable value. And again, it's stuff that you can't get anywhere else unless you are a member of the Supporters Club. You go to our YouTube homepage, which is youtube.com/@DLLS_sports. You'll go there, and there's a join button. You punch that bad boy, and it takes you through the process. And so many of you have done that. And so many of you in the chat, especially, well, not really so many of you, but a few of you in the chat, Leon and To, have donated memberships to people, which we're eternally grateful for. All right, moving along to our merch. I am actually, this is a rare day because I am merchless. I am not wearing any merch, whether it be the hat or a t-shirt or sweatshirt. Don't need a sweatshirt here. It's too nice for sweatshirts right now. But go to store.allcitynetwork.com. Check out our selection. More than 50 shirts. Um, like I said, hats and sweatshirts. You can get flags and beer steins and coffee mugs. And we have right now a St. Patrick's Day sale going on. So it's our St. Patrick's Day collection for all 5 of our All City networks. Some pretty clever shirts that you can check out. These are quality items too. These aren't just like crappy cheap t-shirts. These are things you want to wear. These are things that you want to show off your allegiance in a unique way to your favorite teams. And you can do that at store.allcitynetwork.com. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I got a little bit rattled there with I think it was 5 people who were trying to throw some wire across, and I was right in their way. But anyway, they got their job done. They've cleared out, and so hopefully I can get my mind back in order here. Slow the game down, as they like to say. Um, let's see here. Let's go back. We are going to break down this top 30 MLB Pipeline Rangers prospects. This came out recently. I don't know which day, but I think it was this week. The only top 100 prospect from the Rangers is Sebastian Walcott, which, I don't know if it's surprising or not. Baseball America had 2 with Walcott and Scarborough. Some others have been a little more bullish on guys, and that's cool too. But MLB Pipeline, which does a really good job, has Sebastian Walcott at number 7, which is higher than others have had 7 in their top 100 list. So they're not holding the injury against him. And this is pretty funny. He's their number 6 shortstop. That's right. So there's only one prospect ahead of him who is not a shortstop on the top 100 list. So I kind of got a kick out of that. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. I'll read them off here. The Rangers on the Pipeline, their top 10 prospects: Sebastian Walcott, Caden Scarborough, the right-hander, AJ Russell, Jose Corniel, Winston Santos, all right-handers. Josh Owens is right-handed, two-way player. David Davalillo, right-handed pitcher. Yolfran Castillo, a young shortstop. Alien Rosario, an even younger prospect from the current international signing class. He's an outfielder. And then Dylan Dreiling, the second-round pick in 2024 from Tennessee. He rounds out the top 10. From that group, you probably feel encouraged that the Rangers have 4 prospects, 2 through 5. And then if Owens ends up pitching, or Davalillo is definitely going to pitch at 7, and he pitched his tail off yesterday in a simulated game. I think you look at Corniel and Santos, who Corniel threw live yesterday, so he's on his way back from the dead arm. Santos has already been optioned out of camp, in part because he was hurt. He never he got hurt during live BPs, broke his left hand trying to field a comebacker or defend himself from a comebacker. Either way, got his glove up, it got his palm, and so he's dealing with a fracture. He has been throwing, not pitching, but throwing. Somebody else has been catching the ball for him. So you feel good about that, I think. Now, Scarborough, of course, we know about his medical issue with the malignant melanoma. He's not doing anything right now as they're waiting for it to heal a little bit more, but there is a chance he could open the season with an affiliate. So I think you feel pretty good about that top 10. The problem, of course, is that Scarborough will be at high A. Russell, when he makes his debut, probably high A. Owens, he finished last year at Hickory, so probably goes back to Hickory. Davalillo got to double A, so that's good. Castillo, I don't know where they'll put him. I'm not sure. Probably high A. Rosario, he will stay in the Dominican. And then Dreiling, it's it's an important year for Dreiling. He could see double A this year. So if those are your top prospects, Walcott, of course, is out until August and probably is not a candidate at all to be in the majors this year. You really only have two guys there who will be candidates for the major league team, Corniel and Santos. So good that there's talent, bad that there's not upper level talent. All right, on to 11 through 20. We'll start with Isaac Tiger, Dalton Pence, who is in big league camp, Cam Cauley, who's tearing it up in big league camp, Leandro Lopez, big league camp, S.J. Kim, Alorki Rodriguez, Emiliano Teodo, optioned out of big league camp, Malcolm Moore, Jack Wheeler, and Mason McConaughey. Tiger, everybody's wondering about him, and he's actually a little bit higher than some of the industry rankings here at 11. He's still coming back from Tommy John. He's 25 years old, so there's no certain date on when he's going to be throwing bullpens or where he's at. Even I asked this morning again, and it's still kind of like a fluid situation. Pence, interesting that he's 12th because he's a guy who might end up being a reliever. He is going to get stretched out to start the rest of the spring now that he's been sent out of big league camp. Cauley, who wasn't protected from the Rule 5 draft last year, as we've talked about, could be back at Double-A, but he's having a great spring. He's just a talented guy. And just looking at the talent, all the things he can do well, if he ever puts it together, he's a big leaguer. Leandro Lopez will be moving closer. And then you have Kim, who will be probably in Arizona. Rodriguez, I would suspect Arizona. Teodo, we all know about Emiliano. Malcolm Moore, big year for him. Wheeler, who we talked about the other day on the show, nice young kid, probably Arizona. And then McConaughey, who was the, I want to say 4th rounder out of Nebraska as he's recovering from Tommy John surgery. He's still in the rehab program. So you look at that group. Teodo is probably a major leaguer this year. I would think that he'll end up making his debut, assuming he can stay healthy. Other than that, it's some guys who have some things to prove or have to get healthy first. I don't know that Cauley's a big leaguer this year. I think some things would have to happen, including him performing really, really well. I think that's first and foremost before we start talking about him being in the major leagues. All right, on to 20 through 30. Some interesting names here. Some guys who are pretty good, kind of some sleepers. Paxton Kling at 21. Paulino Santana, Josh Trenadu, who just got moved out of Major League Camp. Maxon Martin, Carter Baumler, Mr. Rule 5. Ben Abelt, my buddy from TCU. Jacob Johnson, Ishmael Agreda, Anthony Gutierrez, and checking in at number 30, but he's number 1, I think, in Rangers spring fan buzz is Gavin Collier. Okay, hey, whatever works. Let's start with Kling since he's the leader of this group at 21. 7th round pick last year from Penn State. Pretty interesting guy because he was highly, highly touted out of high school. Like, could have been a first day draft pick. Instead, he went to LSU, and he didn't do well at LSU. He didn't get drafted as a draft eligible sophomore, transferred to Penn State, and had a banner year last year. You look at his numbers last year, they were fantastic. So this is an interesting guy, a guy to keep an eye on, a guy who had a lot of talent, has a lot of talent. So we got to watch him. Santana was the big name from the international signing class 2 years ago. These guys, we're talking about teenagers here, so it takes time. You never know what you're going to get, and for him to fall precipitously through this list from year to year, I think is kind of knee jerky. If I'm being honest, he's a big, thick fella, pretty talented. Just you kind of have to ride the waves of their success. That's why these prospect lists are tricky. That's why football recruiting, rankings are ridiculous in my mind. How many 5 stars do you see transfer right after 1 year? Don't get there, never hit. So there you go. Baumler, again, he pitched yesterday. You're good against the fighting Brazilians and did pretty well, of course. And he hasn't done poorly this entire spring, and he's got a chance to make this roster, and he has to make the roster. Otherwise, the Rangers have to move him through waivers. He can't be optioned, and if he clears waivers, then at that point he has to be offered back to the team that lost him. In this case, the Orioles. maybe they can work out a trade. The Rangers really like him, and there's really no reason not to like him based on what he's done so far this spring. Jacob Johnson, another guy who's pretty interesting. He's young. He was taken in the 11th round last year. We all know about 11th rounders, right? That's the after that's the third day of the draft where every team, every scouting department gets together, checks over its notes, checks them twice, and has a chance to take who they think is the best player available at this point. And Dalton Pence was an 11th rounder in 2024. Well, the 2025 11th rounder was Jacob Johnson. He's a pitcher, missed a senior of high school because he's recovering from brace surgery. So, okay, maybe there's a red flag there. But then he goes to Pearl River and dominates, just dominated. And the Rangers gave him double slot money. They gave him $300,000 to not go to Auburn. He had committed to go to Auburn, and so that's pretty interesting, right? You want to see it, but you're not going to rush it. And so, a guy who's years away, I would think of anybody on this list who's close. Well, Collier at 30 because he's in big league camp, Balmer because he's the Rule 5 guy. So yeah, you have some guys who are really close to the majors, but also some guys who are pretty far away, and some guys who need to, have good years. And Anthony Gutierrez at 29 there. This is a guy who was a former what? I think I remember seeing him as high as 3 in prospect rankings, maybe in 22. And we talked about him the other day. He's just been crushed by injuries, right? Crushed by him. He's coming off of elbow brace surgery. I watched him take BP the other day, and it looked fine. He was in great spirits, hitting the ball hard, hitting it far. He's a big, skinny guy, so he still has room to grow out. Again, he's still very young, but this is kind of a year for him. Hopefully, he can get to Frisco. Maybe the warm weather will heat him up. Maybe the Texas League where the ball tends to fly will show him that he has the power. But at this point, he seems to be kind of just in a tough spot. And the Rangers put a lot of money into him. But again, a super guy, fluent in English. He's become fluent in English. So we enjoy Anthony and hope that he's able to come through and have a good season. But yeah, and then when we get to Collier, we had him on the weekly show last week. If you haven't seen the interview, go look at it. He's a fun guy. He is a fun kid. He's not really a kid anymore. He was drafted out of high school, so yeah, he was a kid then, and that was in 2019. What a potential draft there for the Rangers to have so many guys who make the major leagues. But he could make this team. I really think it probably takes an injury or a veteran being slowed out of the gate to do it. He's not on the 40 man, so that kind of stinks. But he's been throwing strikes, which he absolutely positively had to do, and his stuff's been really, really good. 98 mile per hour fastball, the slider, which is kind of a sweeping slider. It's been good. He throws a cutter now. He sinks it. He can do a lot of things with the baseball, and he's opened a lot of eyes. Not that they were closed to him, but seeing him throw strikes, that's the key. If he's around the strike zone, the guy's stuff plays. So to see him here at 30 is a little interesting. He's been higher elsewhere. Baumler has also been higher, and but I would say these guys are relievers, so that kind of hurts their prospect rankings. But they're big leaguers, I think. And Baumler might be 3 weeks from today. He might be in Philadelphia, getting ready to make his major league debut, and Collier might too. I think it's going to be hard for both of them. Baumler has the edge because he's on the 40. He's got the Rule 5 thing. So if the Rangers aren't, they don't want to, lose him, but can they afford to keep him? Can you hide a reliever who's barely pitched above Double-A? Can you hide him for a full season or 91 days? I think it is on the active roster. If they think they can do it, that means he's shown something. It's not like they're sending me out there every once or twice a week to protect me and try to stash me. If he's good, he's got a chance. If he's healthy, he has a chance. But again, there aren't a lot of guys with options in this bullpen, and that's an issue. If you don't have the roster flexibility, then you're really going to have trouble um, ultimately deciding that you can keep this guy. So, like Cole Winn, he's out of options. Not that they would option him, but there aren't a lot of guys with options. They're probably not going to option Robert Garcia. He has options left. I don't think they're going to do that. Though maybe, and I'm sure a lot of you would like to see that happen, but it's tricky. It's going to be tricky with him. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that breakdown. I always like to talk about minor leaguers because it keeps me on my toes and helps me remember who's where and what's coming and who could help the Major League Ball Club. And when they get here, I'm ready to go with them. Okay, we're going to do batting cleanup next. I'm going to answer some of your questions, which I'll be honest, guys, I haven't seen a single one of them. With cables flying and the notes I took today for the show, I've neglected the chat and I apologize, but I will get on that as soon as we return from this next commercial break. All right, guys, here we go. Die Hard time. Become a Die Hard. We tell you every show to do it, okay? But not every show are we able to offer you such a sweet deal as our spring training Die Hard deal. $36 for the full year. Here comes some fighter jets going overhead now. So another distraction. $36 for a year. All you have to do is go to alldlls.com/spring training offer. And guess what? You get access to every story I write that is written by Clarence Hill, by Ron, by Sam on their various beats, and anybody else who decides to chime in. You get access to all that stuff. And you get 20% off our merch at store.allcitynetwork.com. And you get 20% off our events. I think there's a Mavs watch-along tonight. I don't know if that's in the studio or just a bunch of guys hopping on the Twitter machine, or Zoom or whatever. But there's some things happening. We want to do a thing at the ballpark this year. We have a contact that would help us get some ticket prices and all that stuff. So again, it's alldlls.com/spring training offer. That'll get you 36. If you want to play full price, just do this. Just hit that QR code right there and pay full price. You get the free shirt with it. So store.allcitynetwork.com on that. So become a diehard today and make all of us happy and yourself happy. All right. Why don't we go ahead and do the chat real fast? Let me go to the very top. McCutchen is not at camp. Okay, Gallagher champ on board with the signing. Awesome. Justin Grounds loves it. Doesn't think Canha will make the team. I'm with you. If McCutchen goes from playing every day to only playing against LHP, how would that affect him? Benny asks. I just think he knows how to do it. I just think he knows how to be ready. He's going to know every pitcher who pitches to him, what they try to do to him, all of that stuff. I'm guessing that as a DH, yes, it was everyday DH, but I'm guessing that he is going to be able to stay sharp. And I don't think he's going to play a little. I think he would play, depending on how many lefties there are in a week, kind of frequently, or at least half the time. Some weeks, not every week. I know the propensity of right-handers in baseball. And then I would imagine he would get games if somebody needs a day off, or if White Linker is injured, something like that. Kelly Mann, Smitty solidifying second base. I agree with that. I agree with you 100%. He's looked good. He's going to hit left-handers. He's done it in the past. Wasn't as good last year, but as we always talk about, it's the second half that always bites him in the butt. So we should hold our breath maybe a little bit on that. But I think they're going to roll him out and get a chance to do that. Yeah, good guy in the clubhouse on McCutchen. You're correct. And rarities, yeah, as we talked about, are the right-handed bats not up to standard, and I think that's kind of one thing the Rangers might be weighing in all of that. No Carter in the interview. Is he sick? Um, he was sick yesterday. I don't know how old that MLB interview is. Was it live today? Were they in camp a couple days ago and I missed him? So I don't know. I did see him yesterday, but he didn't stop and talk to me, which I'm thankful for because I don't want to get sick. Um, where are we going here next? It's Isaac Tiger, the thrill of the fight. I like that. I like that little Survivor Rocky 3 reference there. Yeah, Baumler has been good. You're right. You're right about that. I don't know if that's going to be good enough, though. Just again, the roster construction. Janet, why did they put Baumler on the list if he can't be a prospect? Well, he has no major league time, and I think these lists are based on guys who haven't gone over their major league rookie status. So that's why he's on the list. Benny, we have 13 position players on the top 30 who played within the system last year. Only 2 of those had an OPS above 800 or better. Only 4 of them had an OPS above 750. Well, I think you can. I think that OPS, because it weighs on slugging. If you're talking about guys who are young and haven't developed their power yet, I think that's one thing. I also think that there's a reason why they changed out minor league hitting coordinators. So we'll see how things change there. Oh, we got a super chat, Kent. Super chat from Misty for $4.99. Your reminder that Andrew McCutchen made his major league debut June 4th, 2009, the day Randy Johnson won his 300th game. Huh. Well, how about that? All right. Well, that's a good chat. I would have said that for free, but we appreciate the $4.99. And Gallagher Champ, thank you for keeping Randy Johnson fact subscription up to date. Yeah, Leon, what's up with you and Randy Johnson? You think he's the best ever? He's intriguing. He's one of the best ever. So, all right. Anyway, let's get to batting cleanup now that we've done chat. And if any more chats pop up, I'll check before the end of the show. All right, batting cleanup. Where is it? Oh, today is Thursday and it's not Friday. Yeah, see, even I'm confused, guys. All right, batting cleanup. ESPN Top 100 is out. Top 100 best Major League Baseball players. There are 4 Rangers. Wyatt Langford is the first on the list at 39, followed by Corey Seager at 41, who's one spot ahead of Bryce Harper. Jacob deGrom at 64. Nathan Eovaldi at 99. They had notes, little comments with some of these guys, and Eovaldi's was he's no longer the best pitcher in the world, but he's still elite when he's healthy. And then they had a prediction that he was only going to throw like 125 innings this year, that the Rangers were going to pull back his innings. I hope that he meant to hit the 7 instead of the 2. Otherwise, it looks very uninformed. But again, national guys, if you're watching the show for some reason, check with the beat writers. Check our Twitter accounts. Check the stuff we've written all off season, because it will help you avoid potential trip ups like that. All right, the WBC is underway. There was an upset, I guess in pool play or some such. Australia beat Chinese Taipei 3-0. Travis Bazana, who went to Oregon State, but he's from Australia. He hit a homer in the game. He's a Guardians top prospects, one of the top prospects in baseball. Korea beat up on Czechia 11-4. In that game, I believe Korea hit 4 home runs. They also had 4 players with the last name of Kim who participated, and maybe someday they'll have a 5th in Sung-Jun Kim, the Rangers prospect. Dane Dunning is on the Korean roster. His mother is 100% Korean. I think the parents, his dad met the mom, and they moved to Florida, and the rest is history. Then also today at the Tokyo Dome, we got a tweet here showing this. There was an earthquake warning. Pretty funny. There you go. And they very nicely translated it to English for the Americans there. I like the last part. Tokyo Dome can withstand earthquakes, or is built to withstand earthquakes. But still, that's gotta rattle your nerves a little bit. I'm sure it happens in Japan all the time, though. I'm sure that the Japanese folks were like, "Oh, that's like a thunderstorm warning at Global Life Field." So anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. So Australia and Czechia play tonight. Apparently, it's a must-win game for the Chechians. So I expect the best from them. Team USA will play tomorrow night against Brazil. Um, my prediction: Team USA 20, Brazil nothing in 5 innings. The mercy rule: if it's more than 15-0 after 5, the game ends. Um, and then thereafter it I think progresses downwards. But yesterday the Rangers beat Brazil 13-2 in 7 innings. So I'm going 20-0 USA, and they're going to miss an extra point somewhere in there. Also from the WBC news, and this kind of affects the Rangers in the American League West, as Astros shortstop Jeremy Pena, who is playing for the Dominican Republic this year, took a ground ball off his right ring finger. So this one right here, be careful. He had X-rays, have not seen the results of those yet. Now the Dominican team, and they're playing in the Dominican, were like, well, he's going to get X-rays. He's going to see a hand specialist, which makes it sound terrible. The Astros came back today to say, oh, it's just a cracked fingernail. And Penny wanted to stay in the game. The results of the X-ray, at least at the start of this program, had not been unveiled yet. I will check the Twitter real fast to make sure that we are up to date on that information. Well, I'm not going to check it that fast. Oh, hey, today's lineup is out. Here we go. Today's Texas Rangers lineup: Sam Haggerty, left field; Wyatt Langford, center field; Corey Seager at shortstop; Jake Berger, first base. So that's back-to-back games for Berger and Haggerty. Kyle Higashioka makes his return to Cactus League action at catcher. Josh Smith, back-to-back games, he's at second. Jonah Bride, third. Aaron Zavala, who I think plays every day, right field. Jose Herrera, a catcher, trying to glom onto the team. He's going to get some time at DH. And then, like I said, at the top, Mackenzie Gore. Game will be on 105.3 The Fan tonight. Eric and Matt will be on the call. And like I said, the Royals are broadcasting the game, so maybe you can go find a broadcast somewhere around there and track them down, track it down that way. And there's something I wanted to say about the TV situation here. I know a lot of people have complained about, oh, why isn't this game on TV? Sure, it'd be nice if this was on TV. You know, the Rangers have never televised, while I've been on the beat, every spring game. You know, they usually just do a handful of games, and they're usually late in camp. Their first game broadcast this year isn't until March 14th, which is the next Saturday. And then they're going to do 6 games. Now, only 4 of those are here in Arizona. The 2 games in Globe Life on that Monday and Tuesday before the season starts against the Royals will be on TV. So I don't know that, like, the Rangers are depriving anybody from what they've done in the past. Maybe they've reduced it a little bit, but it's not like they've aired all 33 games ever. Now the webcast, if the webcast is a situation. I think that's something that we've talked about with Jared Sandler and the magnificent news that he and his wife Emily had a baby girl. That impacted it, but I think there are ways around not having absolutely no webcast this year. They could have, like I said, brought in Rylan and Zach from AAA and AA, given them an opportunity to call some big league games, and I'm sure they would have done it real cheap. So I think that this is the Rangers did shoot themselves in the foot on that one. I remember when the schedule came out, I specifically asked, so no webcasts, and I was told, yeah, no, a lot of things kind of working against us there. Let us know if there's any blowback. I don't think I had to tell anybody about the blowback because I know you guys miss seeing these games and have been. Mason, I saw you hunting down the White Sox game the other day. I saw you tweet that out. That it was on their website. So yeah, that was a unnecessary stub of the toe by the Rangers. So anyway, we're about to wrap this show up. Thank you guys for hanging with me when all these people were doing stuff. You know, the game, all the radio booths and the TV booths are filled where I've been posting up the last couple days. And so I was like, well, hell, they're not going to be any writers in here. There's no way anybody's going to bug me in here. And boy, was I wrong. So anyway, that's it for the week. I am going to travel home tomorrow night, hopefully, weather permitting. Maybe we get rained out at the old airport, and I have to stick around Saturday. Boy, wouldn't that be a shame? Hate to see that happen. Yeah. So anyway, next week all 3 shows will be in the studio Monday, Wednesday, Friday at our normal time at 1 p.m. And then I will do the Monday show the following Monday, the 16th. I'll do that in the studio before I head back out here for the final few days of camp, get all the news. So, guys, have a good weekend. If something happens, like, I don't know, signing somebody else, maybe we'll do an emergency pod tomorrow, though I plan to spend a lot of time on the backfields with the minor leaguers tomorrow. Anyway, we will be talking to you guys soon. And if you have any questions, shoot me a DM on Twitter, or my email is always open at jwilson@alldls.com. All right. That's it from Surprise for this episode of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.